All right, sweet. So we are going to go live. Are you ready?
Hang on
Hey,
one second. Okay, gotcha.
okay, we're going.
Let me get the view thing here. Hold
All
on.
right. Okay. Here we go. All right. So, welcome to Oneness Talk Radio and Intuitive You. This is Abby Gooch, and I'm so glad you are here. We actually paused the show for February, but I couldn't help but bring one more guest on because his assistant let me know that he was available. So, I thought, hey, if anybody just happens to be on, they can pop on. And if not, you guys will get the recording. And ladies, of course. So, thank you. Thank you again. Let's just take a moment to drop into our intuitions, be fully present to this moment, to each other, just breathing into our hearts, bringing our awareness down into the center of our being, the soul, right at the center of our heart, seeing that golden white light. And then taking a few deep breaths down into our belly, imagining a tunnel of love from our heart down to our core, that gut feeling. A couple inches below your belly button, visualizing the color orange, and just rotating that in a clockwise direction, opening your inner compass, your intuitive guidance, how your soul is meant to guide you today and us through this conversation. And Jonathan, we just want to welcome you here to the show. Just thank you for just you showing up and being present and just helping us all reach this world with more of our love, right? So the purpose of this is really to activate our intuition so we're in the highest level of service. And I'll actually be speaking in Ecuador about that, of service beyond the self. So when we tune into our intuition, and I know you have a lot of just great information about how to tune into guidance and discernment and decisions from that intuitive place, we're really able to be the change we wish to see in the world. So this morning, and obviously people are listening to this around the world, so it could be, nighttime, afternoon, doesn't matter when, because in every single moment, your intuition is available to you. Wherever you are on your path, you can just, my old business manager would call drop in, right? Drop into the moment, drop in, tune in, and know where to go next. So with that, Jonathan, I would love you just to briefly introduce yourself and just, let us know what called you to this work. What intuitive call did you feel and hear that brought you here today and to the work that you do?
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be with you and participate in your beautiful work that you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
My name is Jonathan Goldman. I am the main teacher and channel for what's called the Essential Light Institute, which is a school of healing and a training for living through the heart. That's what we do. Because it's my observation and what I have received, and what you're obviously doing the same thing, is that the salvation of humanity and the next step for humanity is to learn the art, the inner science of living through the heart.
I love that. So how do you do that? I mean, it's one thing to say it, it's another thing to feel it and experience it, right? So I kind of feel like often fear can cloud the wisdom of the heart, right? Because we've all had experiences, I believe, in life that has kind of created a block or a wall to our heart, right? Like if we've ever been hurt or disconnected from love, the mind can kind of go in overdrive, right? And say, stop, like don't go. But our heart kind of knows it, not kind of, it definitely knows a deeper truth. So how do you help people access and trust their heart and know it's safe to trust their heart? Is there any like exercise and experience that you could offer our listeners and us, right? Even just hosting this show.
Sure. Look, it's what I teach, because here's what my prayer was, right? When I was a little kid, when I was 5 years old, I was walking around the living room of the new house that my family had moved into in suburban Detroit, blindfolded. I had blindfolded myself. Why does a 5-year-old kid blindfold himself? And what I would do is I would look and I would memorize the room, and then I would put a blindfold on and I would walk around like this, like finding my way. So I was a little 5-year-old metaphor.
Yeah.
Right. And my experience was, I was saying, hey, I'm a blind amnesiac that woke up in this body. help me to know how to navigate, help me to know what to do, where to go, how to understand some of this, right? 5 years old. My life then has evolved through that. And like for many people, I came to it through pain. I came through it through my own trauma. When I was 10 years old, my mother died. When I was 11 years old, my father died, both of illness. My father, especially in my little world, very suddenly. And so I had that you were talking about, that trauma that not only kept me from my heart, but tried to keep me out of my body. So years later, through what I came to understand was intuition, I found my way to the various teachers and teachings that showed me how to be in my body, and then showed me literally where the heart is, what are the layers of the heart, what are the qualities contained in the heart chakra, where they are, how to activate them. So the contribution that we're making is not different, right? The sages forever have said, everything that you need is inside you. And my question was, okay, but where? Right? Where? Show me, show me, show me. So I had many experiences, and my contribution that I can say to what I teach people, the only real credit that I can take is I keep saying yes. I keep saying yes. Okay, here's this trauma that comes up in me. What am I going to do about it? Am I going to run away about it? Am I going to sink into addiction? Am I going to make myself crazy? Am I going to make excuses? Sure. But then I'm going to take it on. Because what's the other option? The other option is to do all those things. And as they say, been there, done that. So what I've learned then is, and then what I subsequently teach is, here's where it is. Here's where compassion lives, literally. Here's where intuition lives. Literally, intuition, as you know, as you teach, is the voice of the heart. Intuition is the megaphone of the heart. And so the process of activating the heart through breath, through concentration, through exercises, through choice, then also opens the space, opens the speaker for that deep intuition that's there all the time to get louder and clearer, right? So for me, for many, many years, it was a little voice and it came like, boom. I'd be like, wow, okay, wow, that's weird. Okay, I guess I'm going to do that. That was my choice. And in some ways, because I had so much distress on the other levels, my mind was blah, 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 blah all the time. My emotions were blah, 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 blah all the time. And so there was, when something would come that was so clear and so gentle and so out of nowhere, I chose to follow it. And then gradually, it also led me into the healing, so that other blah, 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 blah got way, way quieter and way, way more, came into the program. It came into the harmony of the heart.
I love that. I love that. Harmony of the heart. It's almost like that's the center point.
It is. The heart is absolutely the center, right? Literally, in the chakra system, it's the center, right? And the heart holds both the transpersonal and the personal, holds the lower self and the higher self and the universal self. It has all those components. And so the switching my loyalty, so to speak, is what I say. So I'm switching my loyalty from the third chakra, which is where my culture and my training would put me, right? The third chakra being the place we live on earth through, right? The doing, the making, the creating, manifesting, right? But also, as we see in our country and in this world, ends up in conflict, internal conflict, ends up in competition without reason, ends up in anger, ends up in criticism, blah, 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 because it's not being held by something higher that gets what the real program is. So by shifting my loyalty internally to my heart and then practicing, right? The only people who are naturally in their hearts that I know are less than a year old, right? They're just
And
little
dogs. No, I'm just kidding.
no, or dogs. No, I don't know if you'll see our dog walk behind me here. Yeah, dogs, right? True. Absolutely true.
I've just been experiencing that lately with dogs. Just like every time I think like an unconditionally loving thought, this dog's like jumping on me. I was like, okay, this is sweet. I love that though, Jonathan. That's really well said. Yeah, it really is. You know, I use the word, or I hear it all the time, like ego. And it used to irritate me. It still kind of does, because I feel like it creates separation. And I think that kind of is what ego is, right? It's a separation from love. And when you talk about third chakra, which feels like you said, power and control, and then you move it up into the heart, there really is no separation. And that's, I think, one of the reasons I was inspired to create our nonprofit they were talking about called One Heart Global, which is really staying in the heart, moving from the heart, inspiring each other to be in the heart and make choices from the heart, right? And so we find as we do that, it's like a ripple of love, right? Because you're so full of love because you're connected to the truth inside you and everybody else, that it just expands and grows like a flower, you know? So I guess I just really invite everybody, you can activate that fourth chakra even just by visualizing the color green and rotating a clockwise direction. So if you take your right hand, you move it towards the right, you start to open your heart. And the affirmation for that is I love. And as you start to open, you'll notice what you love. And as you even say that to yourself, you'll be drawn closer to those things, right? And you'll feel like a magnetic pull towards those things. And that is your purpose, right? Your purpose is to love and be loved and share that love. So wherever you're being called, there is a way to get there, right? Like, you know, our next mission is Ecuador. Okay. Like the way has pretty much been paved, you know, and the proper use of your third chakra is decision. So to use your decision in alignment with love, and then you'll be supported. So Jonathan, I don't know if there's anything else you want to share to that, but that just kind of.
Actually, there's a couple things, Abby, because look, exactly what you're saying is the basis. So I want to say two things. First, I want to say, here's the thing. Everybody has a heart. Mm-hmm. Everybody has one, and it's built in. So what I say is this: the distance between the third chakra and the fourth chakra is what I call the longest 4 inches in the universe. Because the third chakra, it's interesting, the juxtaposition, right? The third chakra is dedicated to that which you're saying. It's to distinguishing, right? Third chakra is, here's a me, here's a you, here's a this, here's a that, here's a plan, here's a not plan. The heart is unity. And so the transition, the transformation from that loyalty from one to getting literally to in answering that call to heart. You alluded to it earlier. The heart's in there going, hey, 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 yo, it can be way better, blah, blah, blah. And and then when we don't listen, it gets louder and it can turn into illness. Somebody asked me the other day, I was on another call and they said, so what do you think about heart disease? And I said, heart disease, it comes from the difficulty in listening to the call of the heart. Because we deny that what you did before. We have this separation. And particularly one of the things that I teach is what we do is we take the energy of the heart in most cases and we put it behind us. We put it into like a lockbox in the back between our shoulder blades and hold back the energy of the heart. There's nothing missing. It's all there. But where did we put it? So someone who says, well, I don't know, my heart's not open. Well, it's not that your heart has been denied its full measure of energy, because a heart given its full measure of energy is just going to do what hearts do. What you said, it's going to reach out, it's going to love, it's going to connect, it's going to unify, it's going to harmonize. So if that was not acceptable for some reason, and in order to protect the precious, innocent, perfect self that's in the depth of the heart, what was the best option? Well, in many cases, the option was, well, I'm just not going to be there. I'm going to take it and I'm going to put it in a lockbox back here. So one of the things that we teach is, okay, let's be aware of that. Now let's unlock the lockbox. And then in the exercise that you're teaching, when we unlock the lockbox, there's more juice available for that breath. Okay, here's the second thing that I want. You asked me a little earlier, did I have anything particular that I could teach about this? And I do, if you don't mind, let me describe something about what I call the energetic anatomy of the heart. So the heart, so we are constructed, right? Everybody, we have a generic vehicle that then is customized based on karma and necessity and, all the variations, but basically your dog and a fish and a tree, and we're all the same construction. We have what you call the core, which is, I call the same thing. And then we have around that layers of energy, discrete layers. One layer is the physical body, is one layer. On top of that, then is what most people who start to see can see. There's a nimbus that goes around the body, like white or blue or yellow, around the body. It's called the etheric body. It's what the acupuncture points are in, and what we call alternative healing works in the etheric body. Then there's the emotional body, then there's the mental body, then there's the spiritual bodies. Each chakra has each one of those bodies. So the heart has an etheric body. The heart has an emotional body. The heart has a mental body. The heart has a spiritual body. Each one of those then has discrete, implanted, put in qualities. So at the very center of the heart chakra, the center, like if it's a flower, that thing right in the middle, like if it's a daisy, that thing in the middle, is humility. Humility lives, literally is built into us. And so when we are brought to humility, right, two hardest things for humans, humility and forgiveness. So for me, I was brought to humility, literally brought to my knees on a mountaintop in Brazil in the middle of the night, begging for help, literally brought to humility that way. I was a super stubborn, I'm a middle-class American professional white guy. Imagine how hard that is to be humble, right? So, humility. The etheric body, which is right on the surface, is calmness. So, right when I want to calm myself, you see this, people do this. They want to calm themselves down, or if someone's freaking out, put your hand gently on their heart. Okay? Here it gets interesting. The emotional body of the heart, which is right in front of the heart, is where compassion lives. Literally, not metaphorically, compassion is implanted in every heart. So when it gets activated, right, compassion is mostly activated in a general way by tragedy, right? A tsunami, right? The thing happens a couple of weeks ago in Washington. Most people freak out and are like, whoa, 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 whoa. And for a little while, get compassion. What if in my meditation, I can sit and activate compassion and then walk through the world like that? And in a situation where I'm faced with difficulty, or I'm faced with pain, or I'm faced with trauma, or I'm faced with anger, or I'm faced with somebody in pain, including me, what if I step into the space of compassion? Literally. And I don't have to wait for the Dalai Lama to hold compassion for me anymore. See? So that's what I was taught. So with your permission, I can show you right now.
Sure. And then everybody just kind of tune in if you want to follow along and do this beautiful exercise. Do it.
This is the main thing that I actually want to teach on Earth now. We talked earlier, you said, well, that's your mission. Mm-hmm. I want to teach this because it's so simple. Mm-hmm. And it's so real, and anybody can do it. And it doesn't have anything to do with religion or ideology or opinion or what you do in your life, or what you don't do. It's just there, right? It's like looking in the mirror and going, oh, I have a nose. I think I'll breathe. It's not that different. Oh, I have compassion. Maybe I'll explore what is it like to do my life living it, having that vibration surrounding me. Okay, so here's how it goes. I'm gonna do this just a little exercise. Okay, basically I'm gonna do what you did, and I'm just gonna add a nuance. Okay, so everybody listening, if you choose to do this, I promise it's going to be good for you. I promise. So align yourself however you do. Particularly feel your feet, squint your toes to feel your feet connecting through wherever you are to the earth. Through the bottom of your feet, connect to the vibration of the earth. And then add to that your first chakra, which comes between your legs and goes straight down into the earth and secures you in your body, secures your incarnation. Like that. Then breathe through your center, right up the center pole, your core, which is right in front of your spine. Gently breathe from the bottom, from your hara, and arrive at the space of your heart at the top of your in-breath, and just hold that for a couple seconds. Good. There you go. Now, put your hands, make a shelf right in front of your chest. Stick them straight out in front of your heart chakra. You're making a shelf with your fingers sticking out in front. Keep breathing, keep being aware of your heart. Now put your awareness where your fingertips are. That far in front. Just put your awareness there. And feel, see, imagine, sense, surrounding your body at that distance, a circle, an inner tube of vibration completely surrounds your body at that distance, all the way around. Now sit on your fingers. Your fingers are a dock, and you're sitting, dangling your feet in the lake. Now from this place, bring in front of you a situation. Don't make it the most difficult one to start with. Something that you're facing. A person that you care about that's going through a difficult time. A particular problem that you're having, that you're facing, a health problem, or decision. Something that's just going to come, and just hold it in that space. Don't do anything. That's the space of compassion. You're not going to do anything. You're just going to hold it in that space. Good. Now, you can go to this place anytime. Anytime you wish. Just walk out on the dock, sit down, dangle your feet in the clear water, breathe, and be. Now, just be aware of your breath. Put your hands in a prayer position, right in that space. That's your activation signal. Anytime you do it or you see somebody do it, you activate your compassion. There you go. Amen.
beautiful. This actually reminds me of the namaste thing. And I have a picture like this. And funny, Oneness Talk Radio, they greet everybody with namaste. If you think about it, it really is centering the heart and compassion and love for everyone and everything, right? And if you feel the energy move through the heart, you can feel the connection to everyone and everything.
So imagine, as I do, I mean, I practice this many times a day, my meditation every day, every day, every day. And anytime I do healing work, right? It's one of the things I do is I do healing sessions and I teach people to do that. And I lead ceremonies and I do lots of different things. All of it is held in this space as much as possible. Of course, I have my ego and my freakouts too, but come back to it. And it completely changes everything, right? One of the distinctions I make, Abby, I think it's super important these days, is the discernment between compassion and empathy, right? So there are three energies that look similar, but they're not. Sympathy, empathy, and compassion. Sympathy says, I'm going to do it for you. Empathy says, I'm going to do it with you. Compassion says, I'm going to hold this space of total presence and total love, and you're going to do it. See? Sympathy leads to frustration and anger. Empathy leads to burnout because you're with people and you're in their energy field and you're taking on their energy, and eventually you're like, just get well, you're driving me crazy, right? Compassion doesn't lead to burnout. There's no such thing as compassion fatigue because compassion is a universal energy. That's like saying there's sun fatigue, stars fatigue. Oh, you can't have compassion fatigue. So when I step into the space of compassion, I am literally linking myself with the universal force of compassion that reinforces this, and it's infinite. So yeah, my body gets tired, but I don't get emotionally tired. I don't get mentally tired because I'm not using my mind. I'm just holding the space.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. What about the discernment between intuitive guidance and your head, right? Or a thought? Like it can be, I think, easy to be swayed even by our emotions, right? So what's the intuitive discernment? To me, it's really as simple as your heart. Really, it's kind of, you gave us the answer of like, bring your hands to namaste and feel your heart and you'll know.
That's a rhetorical question,
right? So it's kind of like, to your point, you already know the answer. So, I mean, really, it's just as a practice, I was noticing even for myself, it's an anchor, meaning it triggers a subconscious, really positive response. When you kinesthetically bring your hands together, it fires off that chemical response of love, of your heart. And so that's a way that you can come back to your heart, come back to your intuitive guidance and just kind of feel, is this aligned with my heart? And you'll feel it, that magnetic pull, that yes. And that's just, you're like, yes, move forward. Yes, move forward.
There's an aspect of higher willingness, right? So here's the thing. Humans, we've been given four gifts, incredible gifts, universal cosmic gifts. One, consciousness, right? Consciousness. We can have this conversation. We can learn. We can, right? Be aware. We have awareness. Two, we have a body that is housed in temporarily, for a while. Three, we have choice. And four, we have the ability to actualize the choice. The four incredible gifts that not all creatures have. They have some of it, right? So using those tells me then I have a mind that's very active, likes making up stories, right? That's what minds are meant to do. Minds make up stories, minds make up conclusions, oftentimes before the evidence is in. I have an ego that wants to maintain homeostasis, wants things to be the same so that I am, quote, successful in what it imagines I should do. I'm a medium, I'm a radio antenna, and so I pick up thoughts from the general field. Right? Many people these days are picking up the disturbed thoughts that are going on and acting them out, speaking them out without knowing that that's what they're doing. And we have examples of this. Many of these in the conspiracy theories are like there's a collective thought and people are picking up out of their distress and all of a sudden blah, 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 and all of a sudden it's true. Well, it's not true. How do you know? So part of it is my choice to know that about myself, to know my inner tricks, to know what the voice of my intuition sounds like, feels like, and then what the voice of my mind sounds like, feels like. It's not the same.
So let's do that. Let's give the discernment, maybe in one hand, voice of intuition and one hand, mind. Are you willing to kind of guide people through that process?
Okay, well, you did it yourself. So let's go back. Let's center ourselves in this space of the heart. Simple, calm. Put your hands in front. One of the ways that I learned about this is I watch people's hands. If you watch a video of the Dalai Lama's hands 100% of the time are in front of his heart. They're either in the space of compassion, which is the emotional body, or the space of faith, which is in the mental body. He just does this the whole time. He's doing this. He's just vibing the whole world. So let's go back to that place. So bring into your awareness a question you have. Simple question. What am I going to eat today? What am I going to do with the rest of my day? Frame it as, what is in the highest good of all beings, including me?
And then where do you hear your answer from? So are they hearing it as a thought, a feeling? How do they experience this guidance?
That's your question. That's the question each one to ask yourself. How do you get the message? The message, if it's intuition for real, will vibrate. Literally, you will feel something in your heart. You'll feel a bell. You'll feel a resonance. You'll feel a tingle. You'll feel a sense of brightness. If it can't get to your heart, don't listen to it. Certainly don't follow it. And if it comes with confusion, it's not coming from your heart. If it comes with, but I don't know, but I don't know, but I don't know. No, what doesn't know is your mind and your fear. If it comes with a certainty and a calmness and not attached to outcome. Right? Intuition doesn't come with what if. But what if this? But what if that? But what if? I'll do it if. No. Intuition comes and just gives the message. So what am I going to do today? I'll tell you what my heart said. My heart said rest. Because I'm working super, super hard and had a busy weekend. And I went through a health thing a month ago. My heart just said rest. Now, it's up to me whether I obey that, because usually I don't. See, but it comes with a calmness and it comes with a rightness, and it comes regardless of what my considerations are. I have lots of work to do, lots of work to do. My heart's just saying, hey, here's the deal. Right? What did your heart say?
I ask a question more about loving somebody. Yeah. And I got a yes. So yeah.
You got a yes. There you go. Now, that doesn't, how do you say, that doesn't dictate what anybody's going to do, but it dictates where you're what your truth is. Mm-hmm. And that's the space of compassion. The space of compassion, what I know is eventually everybody's going to transform. Eventually everybody's going to come to the heart, because that's where we're going. Mm-hmm. How it happens, how long it takes, whether someone does or doesn't in the moment, that's not up to me. you know. So I hope that's helpful because that's what I've learned. I spent many years confused. On the one hand, on the one hand, and on the one hand, on the other hand, on the one hand, on the other hand. And then when I came to my heart, I was like, okay, there's still those one hand, the other hand. They're still going to talk what they're going to talk. But that's not what I'm going to do anymore.
Well, your heart, if you think about it, is in the center of your two hands.
Exactly.
So, I mean, even bring your two hands together, the answer is there. You know, it's just there.
And the one hand and the other hand, and you make them into one hand.
Right.
Your heart. It's exactly. It was a moment when my life changed when I realized what you just said.
Right.
For sure. For
One
sure.
heart. Yeah, one heart.
Anytime.
Yeah, and I want to invite everybody to go to oneheartglobal.co right now. So again, www.oneheartglobal.co, and you can click on retreat. So we have the retreat coming up this March in 2021, and we're also scoping out to build the orphanage there. So there's an existing orphanage, and we're building on it. We're also teaching these intuitive principles, and the retreat is for adults to activate all the 7 energy centers and your full intuition, right? To fully live your purpose and really just be that light that you are. So again, if you click on retreat, you can find more information about that. And as Jonathan, is there anything else you want to add to that? It's funny, my next client's name is Jonathan. What is up with all these Jonathans? So cool.
Well, there is, you know, there's another Jonathan Goldman.
Yeah, Missy was saying something about that.
It's a whole story. I have a whole funny story.
Yeah.
So, yeah, here's what I would offer. Our website is essentiallight.org. Essential Light, one word, lowercase, 2 L's in the middle. Essentiallight.org. And we have a full array of online classes, videos. We have a YouTube channel. The particular thing that I'm super proud of and I think is really useful in these times is I did a 10-week class in September, October. And they're 1.5 hour, 10 session. Divide into 3 sections that go through the whole methodology, go through the whole training that we do. Starting in March, we're going to be doing online classes, also online training. By the end of the year, I'm saying we're going to do in-person workshops because that's what has to be. But the 10-week course I'm very proud of, and it takes you through the step-by-step of, as you referred to it, Abby, of building an inner structure to be able to receive your intuition, but to be able to receive light and to recognize universal, divine light. Again, not a metaphor. Again, not necessarily connected to any religion or any belief system, but the vibration that comes from the center of light in the center of the universe. And to be able to be a vessel for that, literally receive it in your body for your own health, be a channel of it, which of course is what you're doing. You're going to go to Ecuador and basically you're just going to spread light around, right? But to learn, so the training then is how to do that consciously. How do I recognize it? And how do I build inside me the structure that then allows me to recognize it and tolerate it, because it's strong. And then over time, it gets more. My portion of light gets stronger, gets more. My connection with my own guides, the consciousnesses which are smarter than me and beyond me, all of that done in a grounded, truthful way, so that you don't end up flipping into fantasy and imagination and get distracted. So that's what we do. And that 10-week series gives the outline of that. Super clear. So the feedback we've gotten is 100% good. And so I'm encouraging people to go and check it out, essentiallight.org, and then let us know. And, come and hang out, People have a lot of time, do the retreat, then come and work with us too. Whatever you is for you at this moment. What is your heart calling you to? What is your intuition saying? If listening to you, I'm like, wow, that retreat sounds awesome. My heart's going, so if you're listening to me and you're like, wow, I'd love to learn this, it's called the living through the heart process. I'd love to come do that. So the Dalai Lama was speaking once in Portland, Oregon, and somebody said to him, asked him, how do you become a Buddhist? And he said to him, well, what religion are you now? He said, well, I'm a Christian. The Dalai Lama said, so be that. Be who you want, whatever your heart calls you to, do that fully. Do that with your whole heart. There's lots of people saying lots of good things on earth. And there's lots of people saying lots of crazy things on earth. So to discern between the crazy and the positive, positive means what brings unity, what provokes love, as you said. Bad and good, not in terms of morality, but in terms of effect. What is it creating? If it's creating conflict, well, I have plenty of conflict already in me. I don't need any more. Right? If it's creating unity, if it's joining heart to heart, that's what I say yes to. So do what you're called to do, but do it for real. Because, as one of my guides said, there's plenty of time, and the time is short.
Yeah. Well, you realize taking action in the moment, and if you miss it once, if you're meant to do it, it'll come again. So just say yes as soon as you can. As soon as you get your heart call, just say yes, because that is the truth of you. You're born and created of love. You are love. So if you're listening to your heart, there's really no way you can go wrong. I was raised in like a fundamental Christian church of like good, bad, right, wrong, it's just like, and that's a confusion ping pong ball of chaos, right? Whereas if you just move into the center of your heart, it's like, oh, I already know. I've already known. Can I trust my heart? Can I take action on that? No.
And choice, right up to a certain point. It's a choice to say, okay, wow, I guess I'm going to trust my heart. And then you get the proof, right? Like, wow, that worked out great.
Yeah.
And also I would add one more thing. Pay attention to then how that prayer, because that's a prayer, right? To follow my heart is a prayer. I call it a prayer. Prayer is like, because I'm saying, I want to do this, I choose this, and I'm asking for help, however that is. Help from my higher self, help from the universe, however it's framed, right? Help from the guides. And watch how it plays out. Watch then the things that happen in your life that actually are to bring you to the answer of that prayer. Sometimes illness is that. Sometimes illness is that. Because you referred to it at the beginning of it, you have this block. Right? You have this block. You can't get to your heart. If my prayer for real is to get to my heart, what is going to break that block? And sometimes it needs to be chipped away. So recognizing that from that prayer, many things are going to happen, all of them leading to the positive clearing transformation that answers your prayer. And that makes us collaborators, co-creators in the process rather than victims of it. You see, I've had many times, I'm in the middle of a healing process in me, and I'm complaining. My God, it's so difficult. And literally, the voice of my God will come and say, do you remember the prayer you made? And I'll be like, oh, yeah, that's right. So it doesn't necessarily make it easy, but it makes it more smooth for me to cooperate and then follow my intuition as to, okay, how am I going to get through this? What is the medicine I need? What is the healing I need? What is the meditation I need to do? Who am I going to listen to? If I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm so sick, and I'm a victim of this, and it's terrible, it's terrible, it's terrible. I don't. My intuition could be, put a billboard on in Central Park, and I wouldn't recognize it. So I have to recognize that I am being supported, and sometimes the support is weird.
And sometimes what?
Support is weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's weird, right?
Well, it's funny you say that because my grandma just passed, and so I drove my parents from Idaho to Oregon, and then one of my clients called, who's a dear friend of mine, and I'm just like overwhelmed by grief, and she's just like, "Hey, I'll meet you halfway." So she actually drove halfway to meet me. I'm actually staying at my client's house right now. The support is quote unquote weird, but it's all love. And, you saw my little Oregon shirt. I didn't even know I had it. She'd like let me borrow it. So it's just funny how we always are supported in love. And can we receive it? And I think realize the answer to that is always yes. And as you follow your heart, you're giving it. So if you can shift, I mean, the biggest thing I received from this, um, Jonathan, is really shifting from the third to the fourth, right? So that power and control and whatever energy of kind of conflict and almost like war, right? Fighting into the heart, which is intuition, unity, consciousness, bliss, ananda, right? Like it's all of that infinite capacity to love and be loved. There's just this beautiful ball of just golden white light that surrounds your field, kind of like you were talking about the different layers. So I just invite everybody, just place your hands on your heart right now in this moment. Just notice, where is my heart calling me? And you can look at these links that we'll send you. You can see, in this moment, am I guided to go have a cup of coffee, to call a friend, whatever. And your intuition moves you. So I know when I started my company, I was 19, I'm literally sitting at the computer and the words life force connection come through me. I wasn't thinking, it literally was moving through me. So you can't really think intuition because it's so fast. It's so beyond intellectual understanding anyways, but it's like, it's so you. Ha! Intuitive you. It's so you. You are your intuition. So when you clear all these other blocks, you're actually just becoming more of you. And the world wants that. The world needs that because you're born perfectly as you are. So we need you to show up. So,
And
Jonathan, thank you.
what was your contribution at that moment? You said yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we all did. We're all
Then
here.
everything conspired to bring you where you are now. Same thing. Same thing. Very beautiful. Very beautiful.
Yeah, so beautiful. Well, we just need to wrap up in a few minutes. So, Jonathan, if you can share your website one more time so people can access that. If you want to go ahead and do that now, that would be great.
Okay. Essential light, one word, lowercase, two L's in the middle, essentiallight.org.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it. Essentiallight.org. And then if you want to revisit, www.oneheartglobal.co. With that, Jonathan, is there any just last words of wisdom or like a motto or anything you want to just share with people before we log off here?
Yeah, I'm going to share what I call the whatever prayer. It's called the whatever prayer. Okay, again, when I talk about prayer, it's not even non-denominational. It is a communication from the heart to that. Goes inside, goes beyond. So this is the whatever prayer, which I got in a healing session many years ago. Goes like this: whatever I have to see, whatever I have to feel, whatever I have to remember, whatever I have to go through, if it is for my healing and in the highest good of all beings, I agree to it. Whatever I have to see, whatever I have to feel, whatever I have to remember, whatever I have to go through, if it is for my healing and in the highest good of all beings, I agree to it. It's basically giving permission to the universe and to the guides and to your inner self to say, let's go. Let's go.
Sweet. I see this little energy of just guides and just light beings ushering down a path of light, right? Just like, hey, hey, come down here. And there's nothing to be afraid of. So the mind can be like, ooh, that could be scary. It's like even Ecuador at first, I'm like, oh my God, COVID, I could be scared, whatever. It's the mind that's scared. It's the heart that knows. So again, just coming back to the heart and placing your hands on your heart or in namaste, the heart knows. And so just trusting that and knowing that it is leading you to more light.
I would say one more thing, Abby. Here's one sentence. Light is not a metaphor.
It just is.
Light is for real, not only everywhere, but available to each of us to guide us, to heal us, to help us, to comfort us, to give us a bigger picture, and to make us lighthouses. To be a lighthouse, right? Like beaming light around, illuminating what needs to be illuminated inside and around us. As far as I understand, that's what we're being asked to do. You're doing it through your incredible work. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Many, 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 many people being guided to do this. Light is not a metaphor. Light is the real deal.
It's beautiful. I love that. Thank you so much, Jonathan. Namaste. So appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you.
Namaste. My honor, for real.
Beautiful. All right. We'll be in touch, everyone. Thanks so much. You're welcome to always send me an email to abby@lifeforceconnection.com, and have a beautiful day. Take care. Bye.
Amen.